Hey guys, welcome back to the Utah International Film Festival, where we are interviewing the filmmakers live at the film festival. And I'm not even going to make edits on this thing because we don't have time. We have too many filmmakers we're going to be interviewing today, including John here, who's back again. Last year he had Kenneth Applegate starring in a film, and we came back for a second take on this one, and it's Sanctuary. Yeah. Talk to me about what Sanctuary is all about.
So Sanctuary is the story of a grieving actress who retreats to a mountain cabin to be isolated and grieving. But in the middle of the night, a stranger breaks in, and he tells her this story that she's not sure what to believe. And because there's a storm going on at the same time, then it's hard to verify his story. So the movie has a lot to do with reality and perception.
What I liked most is because I like to compare how filmmakers evolve over time, right? And so from your film last year to this year, I'm watching it as like somebody either spent a lot more money or somebody's just getting better and better every year. What was the experience like making the film this year?
Well, it was kind of interesting because one of the things that was different from last year's film is that this is a much more contained story. And so it was small, mostly two characters at the same time. There's a little bit more scenes there, but mostly at that cabin, which we rented up at Sundance, and perfect cabin for us. Really helped with the overall production design. Even having a spiral staircase just made interesting cinematography with light and shadow. So just taking advantage of that location and then having the ability to concentrate on these scenes with most of the two actors just made a great experience with doing that in a small kind of concentrated area. So
then let's talk about that process of actually making a short film. Mm-hmm. For those who are watching this for the first time, they haven't had that opportunity to make a short film. Let's go through the process from the very beginning. Where did the idea come from, and how did you get this thing started? So
it's interesting. The idea actually came about almost 7 years ago now. I was looking at a Sotheby's auction housing in real estate, and there was a house that was up in, or actually a cabin up in Park City, and it had an indoor pool. And I thought, indoor pool, a cabin. And so I was thinking about, well, what kind of person would be able to be there? And that actually dumped out the whole idea of an actress going to grieve and being alone, and then having this person break in the middle of a storm. But obviously, to scale that to a film that I could make, it had to be a smaller cabin. And so we did have a hot tub instead of a indoor pool. So that was kind of the idea there. I also, though, as I evolved it more, I started to realize there's a great metaphor there with the Plato's allegory of the cave and perception and versus reality. And so we built that into that too. And in fact, it actually works great because firelight is the only light that is in the cabin when the stranger breaks in. And if you know Plato's allegory of the cave, it also deals with the flickering of light versus shadow. So it was a nice visual allegory that we built in as we evolved the story.
Now let's talk about casting. You did bring back Kenneth.
Yeah.
What was your casting process? Do you have an idea for an actor in mind before you even finish the script? Or as you're writing it, or is it kind of like I got to put the story out there, and if it makes sense, it makes sense. But you don't force a certain character to your mind.
Yeah, well, interestingly enough, so I had the concept first, but as far as the lead actress, I had one in mind that auditioned for a film several years before, and I wanted to have her work on the film. Unfortunately, it didn't work out in terms of scheduling. But the actress that I did get, Siobhan Gale, was a fantastic actress, and very lucky too, because she was only here for the 6 months around the time that we had the film. Now she's in Atlanta, so kind of great that I got her on kind of upward trajectory. As far as Kenneth, it's interesting because I had in mind a different type of actor for that, but he expressed interest when I put out casting calls. And I thought, wow, he might actually be pretty good on this. And then especially seeing the two of them together, I just felt like the chemistry of those two actors is absolutely perfect for the film.
When we're going through the whole filmmaking process, the one part that really seems to trip everybody up is in post-production. Yeah. You put a lot of work into post-production.
Yes.
Talk to me about your post-process.
Well, it's interesting because part of the thing too, we talked about expense. Most of the expense we put into the film was the production aspect. So post-production was mostly me doing the editing and sound design and all that. It did help that I got Isotope RX because that helps with cleaning up sound. But other than that, it was just a lot of time and process for me to work on that. And then, of course, I also have a great visual effects artist, Rob Field. We've been friends since college, and so he helped out with the visual effects on the film. There's only a few shots, but they were really key for conveying the story.
Now, a lot of filmmakers, when they are making a movie, it's because it's addicting. It's like a drug, right? I know you've already become an addict, and because you've done several of these now.
Right.
Do you have another junkie fix on the horizon?
Yes. Yeah, I actually have several projects that are kind of in the works. One that I'm getting most of my fix right now that I really want to do. I'm not quite finished with the script, but I'm actually hoping to put into production later this year. And one of the things that I like too is challenging myself to do something different each time. So this one is actually in the world of politics, and it's about a political consultant who's fired from his campaign, and then next election comes around and actually runs against his former boss.
Oh, I don't know if I could run against my former boss because first I hate politics.
And this is actually the interesting challenge of it too. I know that it's such a divisive issue. For me, it's all about the machinations of politics. Ideology is never ever discussed in it because I know I would cut out half my audience either way.
Smart.
So it's something where I'm thinking much more about the backroom machinations of it, and it also is dealing with the issues of corruption and trying to say that, look, okay, good citizenship is being aware of things, and let's try and get rid of corruption as much as possible, which I think anybody can agree with. So
Absolutely.
Ideology is not really part of the story. It's also more the underdog story too, which is something that everybody kind of loves.
Exactly. You're not a stranger to film festivals. You participate in quite a few. What is it about these film festivals that is a benefit to filmmakers that just like put it up on YouTube and set it and forget it sort of deal?
Well, one of the things that I love the most is just being able to have your film play in front of an audience. Really, that's what cinema is about. I also teach film, and I just talk about how film, from the very beginning was about being played on a screen in front of an audience. And basically, since the Lumiere brothers, the idea of putting it on a big screen, having that communal experience in a darkened room, oftentimes with strangers, but experiencing the same emotions. And for a filmmaker to get that feedback so much more than it's great with technology, both the filmmaking and then distribution of your film, but you don't quite get that immediacy of the feedback. And then also for festivals, it's great with the networking aspect to talk with other filmmakers and to talk with other people associated with the film industry. So that's a great benefit of festivals too.
Well, I'm glad that you keep bringing it back year after year. Hopefully we'll get this political one coming in next year. Or maybe it'll be done in time. We're going to keep our fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Oh, excellent. Well, guys,
I got other ones. Sorry.
Oh, go ahead. No.
I've got other ones that I'm working on if I don't. So I will be chatting. I'm bringing something back next year. Go ahead.
Score. All right. Well, that's fantastic. John, thank you so much for joining me. Guys, we have more filmmakers coming to the Utah International Film Festival. Keep watching.